All right, today we're going to talk about something super important for home safety, but honestly, it's something that can get overlooked. We're talking about teaching our kids about natural gas. It's a serious topic for sure, but with the right approach, it's something we can totally handle. So let's dive in. So let me ask you something right off the bat. Just think about it for a second. If your child smelled that distinct gas smell in your home, right now, would they know what to do? Or maybe even more importantly, what not to do? If you're pausing at all, then you're in the right place. This one's for you. Okay, so first things first, we got to understand what we're actually dealing with. See, natural gas isn't like a hot stove you can see or a sharp corner you can point to. It's an invisible threat. And that's the real problem, isn't it? A child can't recognize this danger on their own. We have to teach them.
And here's the breakdown. Natural gas is invisible. And get this, in its pure form, it's actually odorless. That rotten egg smell we're all familiar with, that's an additive, a chemical called mercaptan, and it's put in there for one reason, to be a warning sign. But to a kid, it's just a funky smell. They have no idea it signals something that's flammable, potentially explosive, and can even cause poisoning.
When you look at the risks, they really fall into three big buckets. First, you've got the obvious one, the gas stove itself. Open flames, hot surfaces, classic dangers. Second is that invisible threat of a gas leak, which can silently fill up a room and create a huge explosion risk from just one tiny spark. And third, and this one is terrifying, is carbon monoxide. It's a byproduct of burning gas, and it's a silent killer, completely odorless and incredibly poisonous. So, knowing all that, where do we even start? Well, the very first step is to secure the environment itself. This next part is all about practical, hands-on stuff you can do to make your home gas safe.
Here are 5 simple but really powerful actions you can take, like today. First, control access. Get those safety covers for your stove knobs. They're cheap and they work. Second, lock away anything that makes fire, matches, lighters, you name it. Third, get in the habit of just glancing at your gas equipment, hoses, connections, and checking for any obvious problems. Now this next one is huge. Install detectors. You need them for both explosive gas and for carbon monoxide. Think of them as your 24/7 electronic nose. They're an absolutely essential backup. And finally, ventilation. It is non-negotiable. Don't block vents and make sure you air out rooms.
All right, so once you've got the physical space locked down, the next layer of protection is all about education. But listen, how you talk to your child about this is every bit as important as what you tell them. And, this isn't a one-and-done chat. It's a conversation that grows right along with them. For a little toddler, it's all about simple, direct commands. Hot, don't touch. That's it. As they get a bit older, you can start introducing the idea that gas is something that helps us cook, but it can be dangerous. Then, once they're school-aged, you can really get into the why. Explain that it's a fuel, that it can be explosive, and how it can affect the very air we breathe.
Your tone here is absolutely everything. The goal is to build respect for the danger, not sheer terror. Yelling, "Everything will explode," is just going to create panic and anxiety. Instead, a calm, firm statement like, "This is dangerous, so we have to be careful," empowers your child with caution and a sense of responsibility. It's a huge difference.
Now, to make all of this way easier for kids to actually remember, we can boil it all down into a handful of simple, easy-to-follow rules. These are the fundamentals, the absolute basics. Let's just run through them. Don't touch the stove or turn the knobs unless an adult is there. Don't play with fire, matches, or lighters. Stay away from open flames. Now, for older kids, it's important they know never to leave a stove on and unattended or to use gas appliances by themselves. But the most critical rule, the one you need to practice over and over, is number 4. If you smell gas, tell an adult immediately. That right there is the single most important action they can learn.
Okay, so let's really drill down on that one specific scenario. It's the most important one. We've taught them to tell an adult, but what should they actually do and not do in that critical moment?
This is the emergency plan, and you'll notice it's mostly built on what not to do. Just remember this, a gas leak becomes an explosion when there's a spark. And where do sparks come from? Flipping a light switch, using a phone, lighting a match. So you teach them, don't touch anything electric, don't make a flame, just find an adult and get out. That's the plan. So we've covered securing your home, educating your child, creating an emergency plan. I know it can seem like a lot, but here's the good news. It all boils down to a really simple, really memorable framework. It's all built on just 3 key ideas. Just 3.
Think of these as the three pillars that work together to support a truly gas-safe home for you and your family. If you've got these three covered, you're in great shape.
It all comes down to what we can call the safety triangle. First, there's control, physically limiting your child's access with things like knob covers. Second, technical condition, making sure your appliances and your detectors are in perfect working order. And third, education, empowering your child with the knowledge of the rules and the emergency plan. If you address all three sides of this triangle, you're not just crossing your fingers and hoping for safety, you are actively building it, piece by piece. So take a look at your triangle. Which side needs a little strengthening today?